Boxing truth here. Kell Brook needs to retire this chump Amir Khan and finally put an end to his overrated, hyped up career. As Amir Khan he's finally expressed some interest at least in fighting Kell Brook for his possible next fight. Something he's never done in the past and has never even discussed any interest in fighting his rival Kell Brook because he doesn't want that work. Knows what will happen if those two were to finally lock horns in the ring. And now he's expressing some interest, but this is a guy that's made every excuse in the book to avoid a fight with Kell Brook. Shit, even Khan's biggest fanboys can admit that he's been ducking the Kell Brook fight for years. He's made every excuse in the book to avoid it. Demanded Kell Brook to beat someone in the top 10 of the welterweight division. Then he wanted him to win a world title. Then he wanted him to fight a big name. And Kell Brook has done all of that. And as a result, his stock is higher than it's ever been. He's as popular than he's ever been in the sport of boxing. Despite getting stopped and defeated in his last fight against Gennady Golovkin. And Kell Brook is calling for this long-awaited showdown that hasn't happened. Kell Brook is willing to sacrifice and torture his body and drain himself all the way down to the welterweight limit just one more time for the fight that he's always wanted, to prove to the boxing public, especially the British public, that he's just a better man between the two. And that throughout this whole time, he's been the best welterweight coming out of Great Britain. And it's true on paper, at least, that he's the best welter in Great Britain. He's won a world title. He's been an established champion. He's made defenses. What the fuck has Amir Khan done? What has he done in the past few years to deserve that mandatory ranking within the WBC? What has he done to deserve top ranking in other respected ranking systems? Fighting once a year and getting knocked the fuck out? Amir Khan is more known. His most memorable moments of his career is him getting knocked out and put on the floor on the mat. More so than any of his victories in his entire career. And Kell Brook, he hasn't been the one that prevented this fight. He's been even willing to make concessions to get the fight done. Was even willing to give Khan the larger portion of the pie. Even though Kell Brook is the champion and Amir Khan has done nothing in the past 5 years of his career. Hasn't had hardware around his waist in over 4 years. And now Amir Khan is continuing to talk shit about Kell Brook, talking about Brook is running scared from Errol Spence, which is why he's talking about moving up in weight. But Kell Brook really has to sacrifice to get down in weight. And if he's going to do it one more time, he might as well do it for Amir Khan, a fight that he's always wanted, because he knows he will beat the shit out of Amir Khan. Beat the shit out of him and knock him out, finally putting an end to this overrated, hyped up career of Amir Khan. But Khan is contemplating other options. But it doesn't make sense. Why fight the Keith Thurman Danny Garcia winner for less money when you can make the biggest financial reward fighting Kell Brook still? It's still the fight that makes the most sense for both guys, despite both of them coming off losses. In the case of Khan getting put to sleep by Canelo and Kell Brook getting stopped by Golovkin. It's still the biggest fight out there for them, for both of those guys. It makes the most financial sense. It will still do solid business over in the UK, would do good numbers on pay-per-view over in the UK, and the fight can still generate a capacity crowd wherever the fight takes place. But Amir Khan is still contemplating fighting a couple of guys that he's avoided as well. He's avoided the Danny Garcia rematch, hasn't really pushed for that fight, even though he'll talk shit about saying he's wanted it, but he hasn't really pushed for it. And also Keith Thurman, he's never shown any interest in fighting Keith Thurman, because Khan has been chasing imaginary fights with Mayweather and Pacquiao. While he was chasing those fights, he was neglecting all of these guys. Didn't want any parts of Keith Thurman or Kell Brook. Didn't even push hard for a Danny Garcia rematch. Never tried to get the rematch. And then he settled for the Canelo fight. Finally fighting a star fighter and being on a stage he's always wanted to be. Because Khan himself is so delusional to think that he's a superstar himself, but he's not. He's more known for getting knocked the fuck out than his actual victories. And now Khan's talking about he didn't want to throw a wrench into the plans of a Danny Garcia Keith Thurman unification. That he didn't want to stop that fight. But Khan, shut the fuck up, bro. Al Heyman told you what the plan is. He told you to fall back and wait in line and wait your turn. Heyman is punishing you right now because of what you did last May and going against the grain and not taking the advice of Al Heyman. And as a result, you're getting punished. You got to wait your turn. You're going to get passed over now in favor of Thurman fighting Danny Garcia instead of you. And it's all because you forced Al Heyman's hand. You made him greenlight the Canelo Khan fight. You made him greenlight a fight that he didn't want you to take because he knew himself that you was going to get knocked the fuck out. And what good would it have done for him to let you fight on a rival network that he was banned from just for you to get knocked the fuck out by a rival promoter, one of their star fighters in Canelo on HBO, and making Heyman look bad in the process for you accepting that fight and you stating all the things that you said, saying that you can fight outside of PBC universe, and you did. You proved it. Shit, even Bob Aaron's on record saying that you got a different contract when it comes to most Al Heyman fighters. And you made Heyman accept a fight that he didn't want you to take. You went against his advice. You went against the plans that he had in store for you. And now, as a result, you got to wait in line. You got to wait for your turn. But why even take those fights against a Danny Garcia rematch or a Keith Thurman fight? Those fights are not as big right now as a Kell Brook fight will be, despite both of you guys coming off L's. That fight will still do more business because of the pay-per-view incentive involved of you guys fighting a domestic fight, a big domestic fight over in the UK. So, y'all might as well fight each other. Get it over with. It's time for this fight to happen. It won't be as big as it should have been, but it's still a fight people will watch, people will tune in, and this will be a chance for Khan to finally redeem himself after all the bad decisions he's made. Taking a fight he knew he was going to get put to sleep, he was going to get slept in. Chasing imaginary fights with Mayweather and Pacquiao. Fighting once a year and getting recognition that he doesn't deserve. Now he can finally redeem himself by taking the fight that he's avoided for years in Kell Brook and defeating the guy and proving to the boxing public that you are the best welterweight from Great Britain. But I'll believe it when I see it. You priced yourself out in the first round of negotiations. Wanted a very big percentage of the cut of the proceeds, considering Kell Brook was a champion and you hadn't done jack shit in years. No hardware. But there's no excuses now, man. It's time for this fight to happen, and Kell Brook is willing to sacrifice his body one more time. If he's gonna have to do it for one more fight to go down and trim down to 147 pounds, he might as well do it for the biggest money fight out there, and that is Amir Khan. It's not Errol Spence. It's not about defending titles anymore for Kell Brook. It's about getting the big money fights now. He's finally got a taste of what it's like to be in the limelight, to be on a big stage, fighting a big name. And that's all he wants now. He doesn't want to go back to fighting mandatories that are not really going to fulfill his career no longer. He wants the biggest names possible. And if he can't get Amir Khan at 47, then he's going to try to pursue the other bigger names at 154, like a Miguel Cotto or even a Canelo Alvarez. But still, Amir Khan is the first priority for Kell Brook because it's a good fight for Kell Brook. Big money fight. Knows he's going to chin and flatten and end the career of Amir Khan once and for all. Let's see if it happens. I hope it happens. Just to see Kell Brook to finally, once and for all, retire this chump Amir Khan and end this hype job and this praise that a lot of fans give Amir Khan, despite him not doing jack shit for a number of years in the sport of boxing. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.